So lately, I've been talking about the Nintendo Switch a lot. Whether it's on this channel or on Nintendo Enthusiast channel, various podcasts or various things I've written on enthusiast.gg, the Nintendo Switch has been in the front of my mind recently. And that's because honestly, it's a Nintendo system. Nintendo is still the one company that I always buy their hardware on day one because it's always interesting to me. I grew up playing Nintendo and Sega stuff. I, was a little bit older when the PlayStation came out, so I didn't really resonate with that system quite as much as I do with Nintendo hardware. Now, I always buy Sony hardware, but I always wait. I never get it on day one. However, with Nintendo, that's always a day one buy. And as I've been doing these articles and doing these podcasts and doing these videos on other channels, I've realized something. I've been talking about something on all these podcasts, I've been talking about something in all these articles and other videos that I haven't really brought up with you guys yet. And I want to bring it up because I think it's an interesting point, because it's one of those things where when I say it on a podcast, all the other members are like, oh wow, yeah, that really makes sense. So today I want to talk to you guys about why the Nintendo Switch, the hardware, is what sells the system and not the software. So I know you're thinking to yourself, what are you talking about? Software always sells hardware. You have to have games, you have to have games, you have to have games. And I totally agree with that. But the appeal of the Switch, the reason why people will want the Switch is because of the hardware, not necessarily the software. And I think I can explain it pretty well. So in order for me to explain this, we have to go back in time. We have to go back to Nintendo's last two home consoles. So first off, let's talk about the Wii. The Wii was a huge phenomenon. Everyone seemed to want a Wii. Mothers and little kids, and everyone just wanted a Wii. But why did they want the Wii? Was it because of the motion controls? Because that is what the system was about. The system was vastly inferior to the PlayStation 3, vastly inferior to the Xbox 360 in terms of online, in terms of graphics, in terms of pretty much everything, except that it had motion controls. So was the motion controls what sold the Wii? Not at all. Because if you look at it, PlayStation Move and Xbox Kinect didn't really do anything. They didn't sell well, and both are completely abandoned now. The Xbox Kinect, of course, came with the Xbox One and was quickly dropped because it was too pricey, and PlayStation had PlayStation Move, and they got rid of it because nobody seemed to care about motion controls. So how did Nintendo manage to make a whole system based off motion controls and make it work? Simple. People didn't care about the motion controls, people cared about Wii Sports. Wii Sports was a phenomenon of a game because it was a new Nintendo IP that didn't involve Mario, that didn't involve Zelda, that didn't involve Metroid, or any staple IP, Donkey Kong, anyone from the Nintendo library. Nobody was involved with that. It was just your own character. But the game was built around the Wiimote. All of those events, tennis, bowling, they were party games. They were games that everyone wanted to play. Could Sony have done it first? Could Microsoft have done it first? I honestly feel like they could have. I don't think it mattered that Nintendo was the one to come up with the motion controls and the Wii Sports gimmick. But that is what sold people on the system. It didn't matter if it had a Nintendo branding, an Xbox branding, any sort of branding didn't matter. Anyone doing motion controls that came out with a game like Wii Sports would have done well. And you could see it in the Wii itself because it was a sharp incline and then a sharp decline because people got sick of motion controls, but they loved Wii Sports. So Wii Sports sold the Wii. The Wiimote didn't sell the Wii. I don't think anybody really cared about the Wiimote itself. They just wanted to play Wii Sports. So, did hardware sell the Wii? Not at all. Wii Sports sold the Wii. And you could just look at the statistics of overall sales for that game and see, that's the truth. Now, of course, we have the Wii U, which was the successor to the Wii, and it didn't do good. It didn't do good at all. But why, would you say? Why didn't it do good? You could use your Wiimotes. They had games. They had a great library of games. Bayonetta 2, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros., Hyrule Warriors Legends. So many awesome games were on the Wii U. So many awesome games were exclusives. But games sell systems. Do they? Because with the Wii U, it didn't sell. The games sold, but only to Wii U owners. It didn't reach that other market. So why did the Wii U fail? Well, let's look at the launch lineup and let's look at the pack-in software. The pack-in software was Nintendo Land. Now, Nintendo Land wasn't that bad, honestly. I had a lot of fun with Nintendo Land. I thought it was a decent app to sort of show off what the Wii U gamepad could do, but it didn't capture anyone like Wii Sports did because it wasn't as pick up and play. In order to play anything on Nintendo Land, you had to use the gamepad, and the gamepad wasn't exactly the most ergonomical thing. It wasn't actually, the best design thing in the world. It was kind of big, it was kind of clunky, it kind of got in your way, it was heavy, it didn't look sexy, it was, bulky and whatnot. So because of that, Nintendo Land was simply just a tech demo, whereas Wii Sports managed to sell the Wii, Nintendo Land couldn't sell the Wii U. And then when you look at New Super Mario Bros. U, people had been playing that franchise on the DS and the 3DS. Why would I want to play it again? Why would I want to play a 2D standard Mario game that looks great and plays great, but it's nothing new, it's nothing fresh, it's nothing different on the Wii U? People didn't want to. And when you had third parties abandon the system very early, there was no software that would make people buy the Wii U hardware. So because of that, by the time you got that software, it was already too late. Nintendo diehards had the system for the first year and they were burned out. Of course they bought games like Splatoon and Super Mario 3D World and Bayonetta 2 and everything else that came out on it. Those games sold great. Mario Kart 8 sold over 8 million copies on a 14 million install base. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. But there was no software to move that hardware because the hardware itself, much like the Wii, was not compelling. It wasn't any reason to get the system. So then that brings us to the Nintendo Switch. Really at launch, you have two games that are top tier in my opinion, that being The Legend of Zelda and Super Bomberman R. You also have games like I Am Setsuna, a bunch of other indie games, and 1-2 Switch. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, the Switch has these Joy-Cons, it has these motion controls. 1-2 Switch would be the perfect pack-in game for this. Why are they just doing 1-2 Switch on its own thing? Reggie said in an interview that it was because they wanted to give gamers a choice of what game to buy. They didn't want to just throw in a pack-in game and raise the price. But that's not the reason at all. Because if they packed in 1-2 Switch, it would do okay. I think people would enjoy it and it would really showcase, what the Joy-Cons and whatnot can do. But the Joy-Cons aren't the focus of the system, no matter what Nintendo's Japanese presentation wants to lead you to believe. Because, oh my god, they spent so much time talking about Joy-Cons. So much time saying, oh, well, you can feel different ice cubes and stuff. And people were like, okay, dude, show me games. Show me games, because games sell hardware. But the thing with the Switch is, you have a Wii U title at launch that looks better and plays better. You have Super Bomberman R. But both of those games utilize the Switch to a great degree. How? In the hardware. You see, the hardware, the ability to take this with you wherever you go, is the reason to buy the Switch. Not necessarily the games. It's the hardware that people are going to be interested. Follow me on this. Think about how Wii Sports was. If you had a Wii U, or if you had a Wii and you had Wii Sports, and somebody came over to your house and they didn't know shit about video games, they walked into your house and said, hey, what's that? What are you playing? What is this? This looks cool. Then people automatically be like, oh, I gotta get a Wii, I gotta get this Wii Sports game. That's why mini game compilations sold so well on the Wii, because people that were buying it didn't care necessarily about the hardware, they cared about mini game compilations and interesting things like that. Now, using that same logic, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. You're sitting out in public, you're at lunch, or wherever you want to be, on a train, on a plane, wherever. Okay, you bust out that Nintendo Switch. You could sit there and play like a 16-bit game, an 8-bit game, an Atari game on there, and someone will stop and be like, the hell is that? Because the system is attractive, the system captures your attention, the system draws you in, and then you see the software, and then you see what it can do. But when you're out in public, people are going to notice that, and that is Nintendo's biggest ace in the hole with the Nintendo Switch. It's not necessarily about the games. When you look at the game library lineup, it's mostly for people like me, people like us, lots of RPGs, lots of Japanese games, lots of cool looking, interesting titles, interesting evolutions in characters that we know and love. But it's not about that. It's about the actual hardware. The hardware is what will capture people. The fact that you could bring this home console anywhere with you. Look, I saw a video on Twitter of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe running simply on the gamepad, and my mouth was just agape because it looks so phenomenal. There has never been a portable device, there has never been a handheld device that is strong enough to replicate a home console experience until now. And that is the biggest thing about the Nintendo Switch. It looks awesome. It captures people's imaginations. People will want to know more about it just on looking at the system, not the library of games. And that's the biggest difference between this and the Wii and the Wii U, is that the hardware is what's gonna sell it. So let me know what you think. Am I a crazy old man just rambling, or do I have some merit to my conversation? Because I honestly think I do. I honestly think this is the best thing about the Switch, is that the hardware can sell it alone so that Nintendo can actually focus on real games and good games and interesting games. Whereas with the Wii, they had to focus on these mini games. With the Wii U, they had to focus on anything to try and sell it. Let me know what you think about this discussion in the comments section down below. As always, thank you for watching this video. This channel has been growing like crazy lately. I'm so blessed. You know, we're almost at 19,000 subscribers. It's absolutely amazing. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel. If you are not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. And of course, if you really like seeing my face and like my opinions, check out my Patreon page. I'll catch you guys next time. I'm going to dream about the Nintendo Switch some more. Later.